In today's video, we're talking about tour guide Edith de Belleville and her new book.
Bonjour.
Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. My name is Carola and I moved to Paris in 2017. And in today's video, we're going to meet tour guide Edith de Belleville.
Bonjour.
And we're talking about her new book and her tours. I have done a few of them. And yeah, please introduce yourself.
So hello, my name is Edith de Belleville. I'm a Parisian tour guide. As I always am a lawyer before, well, I'm still a lawyer, so I'm an old lawyer and I'm a young tour guide because I'm a licensed tour guide for only 3-4 days, that's it. But I like it very much. And what do you want me? Do you want me to know if I'm single? Yes, I'm looking for a man, rich and young. Ask Carola if you a man like this. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on my channel.
Thanks to you, Carola.
So what kind of tours do you do?
Well, all kind of, but it's true, my favorite are the tours about women. That's why I wrote my book about women of Paris, inspirational Parisian women. I do tours about women, famous women as Coco Chanel, that I suppose you know, Carola, and other women as Edith Piaf, which will be my next tour, and even I will sing, and about Sarah Bernard and Georges Sand and Marie Antoinette, who was Austrian but also French queen. Also many Simone de Beauvoir, the famous feminist, and many other women. This is what I like the most about Parisian women.
Cheers.
Cheers. Santé.
So where are we right now?
So we are in La Sorbonne, Place de la Sorbonne, that everybody knows. I'm not going to talk about La Sorbonne University because except to tell you it's one of the oldest and most famous and prestigious university in the world, where I did study, by the way. I did my postgraduate degree law just La Sorbonne here, before I was in Panthéon. And to be honest, I spent a lot of time in the cafe of the Place de la Sorbonne, more than Sorbonne University. But well, I had my degree. So it reminds me when I was a young and beautiful and a student in the Latin Quarter, because we are in the left bank in the Latin Quarter. So somebody important when we think about La Sorbonne that maybe you don't know because she's not very well known, and I talk in my book, Belle et Rebelle, it's Christine de Pisan. So who is Christine de Pisan, Carola? She's a woman, she was born in Italy, but she's the first feminist in the world, and she's from the 15th century, so just end of Middle Ages. And what happened in La Sorbonne University, you had a book extremely famous in the 13th century, so before, whose the name is Le Roman de la Rose. In English it's the Rose novel, something like this. Yep. So it's a poem, and it's about courtly love, love in Middle Ages with a knight and etc. It was a huge success. And somebody wrote La Suite, another Roman de la Rose, which was extremely sexist, against women, not very nice. And one woman, a writer, the first female writer who had money thanks to her books, was Christine de Pisan. And she was very angry. So you had a literary fight. It's the first literary quarrel, a querelle littéraire in history of literature in the world, between Christine de Pisan and the other man who wrote the Roman de la Rose in 15th century. It's the reign, if you want to know the king, it's Charles VI. Charles VI is well known because his nickname was Charles the Crazy.
Yeah,
crazy,
I know him. He thought that he has bones out of glass, and so he made iron rods into his clothing. And I think he killed some of his courtiers when he was thinking he had to defend himself.
Absolutely, he was crazy. Charles le Fol, the crazy. So it's very interesting that the most famous book of Christine de Pisan, let's say the first feminist book in the world, is La Cité des Dames. She said, Christine de Pisan, that the women have to defend themselves with the words. And she said, if men have a bad image of women, it's because we never talk about the famous women in history, not only in the Bible, you know, all the famous women from the Bible, but also Blanche de Castille, the mother of Saint Louis, and so she wrote a history book, but only about women.
Oh.
Now we think it's not original, but imagine in the 15th century, it was very new.
Oh yeah.
And imagine at Sorbonne University at the time of Christine de Pisan, she couldn't go in Sorbonne University. You wouldn't have been able, I wouldn't, only for men, of course, you know. So that's why it's interesting. So the other thing, the interest of Christine de Pisan, this is, I was explaining why I wrote my book. Christine de Pisan, it's the consolation thanks to the book. I was very depressed, and somebody, you know, from time to time we're all a bit depressed, including you, I'm sure, Carola. So when you're depressed, when you feel down, when you feel you're nothing, read books, read biographies. You agree, Carola? And literature and books. This is how Christine de Pisan, who was a widow, who didn't have money, this is how she became famous. Can you imagine? The first female writer in Europe. La consolation par les livres. This is what I call in French. Consolation thanks to the books. Voilà.
Very nice.
So you wanted to ask me a question, Carola?
Well, yeah. I was wondering how the education of languages is in France.
Yes, education of language. It's not wonderful. Yes, you're right. Well, I have to say that the new generation, for example, my son, my kids, their English is much better than mine. I think it's thanks to Netflix, you know, all the series, but I think it's because of this. So the new generation, their English is better. But the problem in France, you learn, well, it has changed now, but in my generation, I learned languages as, for example, English, what was important was not to talk, but writing. So we were learning English as if I had to pass a PhD in English, you know. The same in German, when I studied German, my German, or the same in Spanish, let's say. So the French, I mean, if you don't speak a language perfectly, we don't speak because we're a bit shy and we're afraid to make mistakes. I think it's a mistake. Me, to be honest, I don't care. That's why, you know, I speak English like this. I learned all by myself. So it's because French are shy, I think, you know. And I think the Germans, for example, Germans speak many languages and very good languages. Your French is perfect, Carola. It's, I think, because you're less shy and you may be more open-minded, you know.
Well, we have to speak it. So I remember in 5th grade, it was my first year of English, and the first thing we had to do was put up a theater play with the words we knew. So we had to talk.
To speak.
That's
the problem. Yeah. No, it's true. I've noticed Germans speak languages very well. Yeah, because if you don't speak, who cares that you write well English?
Exactly.
Well, if you think when I write English I write well, it's a disaster either. But anyway, I'm not a good example. But you're right.
Yeah, you really need to speak a language, and you know you need to know the pronunciation, because otherwise you will pronounce the words as if they were your own language, and then the native speakers won't have a clue what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And you need the key. That's why, because I also teach, I make publicity. I also teach French to foreigners. I'm a qualified French teacher to foreigners. And this is why I always tell to people, when you learn French, we don't mind if you make mistake, if you don't pronounce well. What is important is express yourself, to communicate. Even if you do mistake, who cares, you know?
Yeah.
So with the French, I would advise you. I mean, you don't need you because you speak perfectly French, Carola. But yeah. You bet you speak very well. But it's to listen French radio, to watch movies with the English subtitle and music. You know, for example, I learned Italian thanks to Italian songs.
Yeah.
Listen French music. This is the advice of the French teacher in front of La Sorbonne, very serious university. What is it?
It's a cannelle de Bordeaux, and it's something...
Cannelé. Cannelé.
See, I don't speak perfect French.
Well, okay, but it's pastries, who cares?
It's a cannelé de Bordeaux.
Cannelé de Bordeaux, yes.
And it's a cake with alcohol.
Oh, rum. Not bad. Is it your favorite pastry, French pastry, Carola?
So, I really like that one. I also like the croissant amande.
Croissant aux amandes.
And and I really love macarons. And there's a very funny story. So before I lived in Paris, I lived in Frankfurt, and I had a large apartment. And I had friends of my sister coming over and staying over. And so they brought me a box of macarons. And they were there for 4 days, and I didn't eat that on the first day or second day. I ate the macarons when they were gone. So there were 5-day-old macarons. And I thought, okay, they're very hard biscuits, so I didn't like them at all. And I only had to come to Paris to understand, no, macarons have to be eaten within the 8 hours that they are made. So they're big and fluffy, and now it's one of my favorites.
And which flavor do you prefer?
I like vanilla, I like well, caramel, nuts, and...
No, I said, what is your favorite?
My favorites, okay. Then I guess noisette.
Hazelnut.
Yeah.
How do you say noisette in German?
Hazelnuss.
Ah, but it's like in the... Oh, macaron, yeah, you have different kind of macaron, you know, people fight. Probably it comes from Basque country, 16th century, even before, you know, before. Okay. Yeah. And you have macaron from Nancy, east of France.
So what are the ones that are sold everywhere
Paris.
In Paris?
It's the Parisian macaron, the macaron Parisian, created in 19th century, which is, for us, it's not old. No. So the macaron you like, it's the French. I have to tell you, I don't like macaron. Oh. I think it's very nice to take picture. It's very aesthetic.
Yes.
But my favorite pastry, as you don't ask me, but I tell you,
well, yeah.
There are many pastries made in Paris. Le millefeuille, that you call Napoleon in Russia, you know, I like it. It's from Paris and it's 19th century. Le flan, which I like very much. It's the custard, you know, custard made in Paris. Opéra, you know, the pastry with chocolate.
Oh, the éclair?
No, opéra. It's not éclair. I don't know if you know. It's a chocolate pastry. I do a food tour. That's why I know very well.
Yeah.
The people, the clients, they pay. I eat. So the opéra, it's a chocolate cake. And it's the name of opéra, 19th century.
Okay.
You have yes, la religieuse and the éclair with the choux pastry. What else? You have the many, not the religious, but opéra, millefeuille, le Paris-Brest. Do you know Paris-Brest?
Yeah, yeah.
So Paris-Brest, do you know where it comes from, Paris-Brest?
Well, I guess it comes from Brest, from the northern town of Brest.
Brittany?
Brittany?
Yes, but it's the name of a bicycle race.
Oh.
You had a bicycle race, you know Tour de France?
I know
of
Tour
course.
de France, yes.
So it's a small, not Tour de France, but Tour Paris from Brest in Brittany. Mm-hmm. So it was the name of a bicycle race in 19th century. And the baker was a big fan of bicycle. And what is the shape of the Paris-Brest? It's the shape of a bicycle wheel.
I didn't know
You
that.
didn't know, that's why. So if you like bicycle, you have to eat Paris-Brest. That's good.
I'll put pictures up of all the cakes that
yes,
we're talking
pastries,
about.
yeah.
You also know what we're talking about.
And tell Carola, what is your favorite French pastry?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
so you,
absolutely.
I know now it's macaron.
And what is your favorite macaron flavor?
Yes, but me, I don't like macaron. No, except pistachio. I like pistachio.
Oh, yeah, yes.
So,
see, I can't have a favorite flavor because they're all so good. So pistachio is just really nice with the cream. And
but I like German pastries. My son is fan of I don't know how to say, maybe German, Austrian.
Okay, what is it?
Le Forêt Noire.
Oh, Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte. Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte.
Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte. How is my German?
Very good, yes.
Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. Ein bisschen.
Very good, and yeah, that is actually German. The Schwarzwald is a region in middle to southern Germany.
It's good now.
It's
good. It's very with Kirschen.
Yes. Yeah, I have problems eating milk products, so I am eating like the vegan version of Forêt Noire.
Okay, but no, in Germany you have good, in Austria, Strudel.
Oh, Apfelstrudel. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that one as well in Germany, or just any Apfelkuchen. We like apples. We love apples. So
in Germany?
Yes, we have like our favorite drink seems to be Apfelschorle, which is a mix of
with bubbles.
Yeah, exactly. Apple juice with bubbles.
My son, he went to Germany because he studied German. I mean, they were speaking in English. Shame, huh? Schade. And he told me, Mommy, the Germans, they're weird. They always drink apple juice with bubbles. What is this? I don't know.
We do. And I can't find it here in France.
How do you feel? Do you feel sad because you don't have your apple juice?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can mix it myself. So, guys, you remember Paris in the 19th century and all the Impressionists, and they were actually all acquainted with each other. Some of them shared a studio, or they all had the same teacher, but they at that moment weren't necessarily famous, but they had a good time. And right now I'm feeling like my little group is also made up the same way, because for example, there are so many people that know Edith de Belleville from some tour she did, or from a book lounge or something. So I have had so many people saying, "Oh, you're filming with Edith? Yeah, I know her from that and that situation." And so really my whole world seems to be very interconnected. And you actually mentioned that that one of the tour guides that I already filmed with was one of your students.
Yeah, because Ferit.
Yeah.
Because I teach the Jewish heritage in Paris, because I do the warm Jewish heritage in Paris. Yeah, and I met Ferit. He's very nice. Very nice guy.
And so I feel like Paris right now is kind of like that. So there are actually books where they say, "Oh yeah, and then there was a party and we met this person and that person, and Edith de Belleville was there." And so I feel like in 50 years people will read that, and then they will come back and they dream of, "Oh yeah, Paris must have been so amazing at the time when we met Edith."
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, but you know what, Carola, I'm only well known in my street, and that's all. Yes, you're right. It's like, you know, my reference is Emily in Paris. I do a thesis about Emily in Paris. And remember the episode when Emily meets Camille in the restaurant of the boyfriend, and she doesn't get the boyfriend, and Camille says, "Oh, but I told you, Paris is a village." Yeah,
yes,
it's true, Paris is a village.
But how did you publish your book?
Thank you to ask me. Yeah, it's a funny story. First, I did radio podcast for a Parisian radio that nobody knows, with an Australian journalist, very talented, Olia, about inspirational Parisian woman in English. It's on my YouTube channel, by the way, and it's free.
Okay, I'm linking it down below.
Voilà, 10 podcasts. And it was funny, and Olia, my Australian, I like Australian people, they're funny.
Yeah.
I don't understand when
Adorable.
they speak English, but they're so nice, so funny, and crazy. So she said, "Why don't you write?" I said, "I'm not a writer." And Olia, you're not Anglo-Saxon, very positive. Right. So I wrote 5, I start with 5 women, 5 chapters. But I thought, I'm not a writer. And one day I went to see my dentist that I didn't know. Always to have good relationship with the dentist.
Yes.
And I talked with the dentist, and I was very scared, and I saw he had books on the table, and I saw books, it was written by himself. And I say, "Are you a dentist or a writer?" He said, "Both." I wrote books, and as he was, you know, my teeth, and I'm suffering, it was funny. He was explaining how I had to listen to him, I didn't have choice. And he tried to sell the book, and he was telling me the story of his books, and they're very nice. And we became friends, very nice, Didier, and he was a stomatologist, so he was a doctor. And little by little, he said, I told him that I wrote the book, he said, send me one chapter. I said, no, I'm not a writer. He said, send me one chapter, I will tell you what I think. I said, okay, but you promise you will be nice. Yes, send me. He said, it's wonderful, it's great, it's funny, and it's easy to read. I'm going to talk about your book to my editor, because he published with a real editor. I said, no, you won't like it. He said, yes, I will do it. I said, okay. He sent, and one day after, my friend Didier, ring, hello Didier, yes, he loved it. He sent one chapter about Madame de Montespan. Madame de Montespan, she's in my book, she was a favorite of Louis XIV. He said, il a adoré, he loved it. I said, are you sure? Yes, he wants to meet you. Okay. So we meet in a Café Le Select, Montparnasse, nice, my favorite cafe. Very adorable, the editor. I felt a bit uncomfortable. He said, okay, he signed me the contract, and I told him, you cannot sign the contract. He said, why? because I only wrote, at this time I only wrote one chapter. I'm a lawyer. You never sign a contract with someone you only have one chapter. I said, imagine you don't like the rest. Don't sign now, sign later. And he smiled and said, you know what, you're a lawyer, okay, but I'm an editor. I know my job. I know exactly how you write. I don't take any risk. And he signed the contract and I said, okay, oh my God, I say Americans, oh my God. I only wrote one chapter, so I had to write, the rest. So this is how I published my book. So that's why I say, always have a dentist as a friend.
What is your next book about?
Yeah, so I wrote a book in English, which was not easy, believe me. Well, I hired an American writer to correct my mistake. And so it's about chronicles about my life, not memoir. In French, when you say memoir, people will think I'm 80 years old and it sounds very pedantic, that I'm famous. No, I mean, it's memoir, you say in English, but in French I would say it's more adventure of a tour guide, me, of a major woman, me, in Paris. So, and the title is A Tea with Coco Chanel.
Oh.
Adventure of a Modern Day Parisian. So it's like novels, not novels, short stories.
Okay.
Small, I try to be funny, and about my life in Paris, the people I meet, and it's exactly like in the book in French. My problem, I'm a Joan of Arc of the 21st century. No, I don't want to fight, no. And
you hear voices?
Yes, but not voices of ordinary people, because I'm a refined woman. I hear voices from famous people.
Oh.
No, I have not conversation, but mental conversation, as I'm always learning as all the tour guide, history. So I have conversation with Coco Chanel, I have conversation with Napoleon, which I don't like very much, but anyway, and with Marie Antoinette, not Marie Antoinette, but that's the book. I see Paris, this is how I see Paris, through history and literature.
Yeah.
This is how I see Paris. This is what I like.
Oh, me too.
History and literature.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, thank you for being on my channel.
Thanks to have invited me.
And if you like the video, then I'll link all the ways to contact Edith down below. So, the Facebook group, the book, the online tours, and of course the YouTube channel with the podcast. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Merci, Carola. Nice friend.
Down on every Paris street, always something new to meet. Paris stands for all to see, with her ancient history.